the question of can we bring in foreign players or foreign junket? I think one of the reasons that we partnered with Melco Crown is to help us bring in that Macau base that we've been looking for in the Philippines. Other operators have not done successfully. If you look at Resorts World in their 5 years, it's really more a monopoly from day one. Now, with the entry of Bloomberry, you could see already a lot of junket players from China. And in fact, recently, their first quarter results proved that they have been very successful. Of course, they had a little hiccup late last year, but I think it's on its way. And with the entry of City of Dreams, our property this year, I think that will really generate interest as well in the area of geopolitical. We slowly managing the issue that's been happening in Hong Kong, the unfortunate incident 3 years ago, and hopefully that we could generate some interest. In fact, aside from that, our tourism has also been at a steady, averaging about 200,000-300,000 visitors, largely up and coming. The Korean market is also beginning to expand in the Philippines. So we're looking at different spectrum, and maybe Chris can probably.
Chris, I mean, you were directly hands-on involved in the so-called VIP and junket market on behalf of PACO. What are your thoughts?
I think City of Dreams will do very well. Several factors. One is I was reading the recent Macquarie report, and they cited there, aside from the Chinese market, the second largest growing market is the ASEAN market. And Manila is in proximity within 2-3 hours of more major ASEAN markets, number one. Number two, the recent move for PACOR to lower by 10 percentage points the license fee, hereby lowering the VIP tax from 15 to 5% and 25% for mass to 15%. Will go a long way because you can now reinvest in higher incentives, higher rebates, and I think a lot of junket operators will be poised to take advantage of that. That's another point to consider. The third point to consider is the move in Macau for higher minimums. Will also drive what we call what is potentially not even a premium mass market in Macau becomes a VIP market in Manila.
You're talking about the poor man's VIP model, that is the Naga model.
No. I think it's a lot better than that. But what I'm trying to say is, number one, lower wages. Number two, more variety of entertainment. Number three, better incentives, better rebates. And four, better flight proximity. So it all adds up. I think it may not be there immediately, but I think the presence of a major Macau operator like Crown Melco will help immensely.
Okay. Just touching on very quickly, you're talking about the various issues, the potential success of the Melco project. Armin, what are they bringing in that's going to be different? As I say, I've been in the market, and every time an operator comes in, this is it. This is the next best thing to slice bread. And then you have Bloomberry going to bring in the Vegas model. This is a very pro-American market, and we've got a Macau pedigree, right? We've got Macau pedigree. We're going to bring in the Macau junkets, and again, we've seen similar outcomes. So, what is your intention? Are you going to become a market leader in the domestic market, or you really will bring the junket operators, because you still have a lot of infrastructural issues that still needed to be overcome, despite the advantages of engaging Melco Crown with their junket connections in Macau. You still have a lot of unresolved infrastructural issues.
Aside from, I mentioned earlier that we do have international partner, but what we are bringing in, aside from the two other integrated resorts in the Philippines, or for that matter in the entertainment city, is a family entertainment. I think, as I've read in the newspaper, we are going to bring in DreamWorks, and it's going to be launched, in fact, this coming Thursday. And it's going to bring in a whole array of new family entertainment in Manila. It's going to be the first in Asia. I believe it's going to be interactive. and it's going to bring in a lot of tourists from Asia. And aside from that, on the coming answering from the infrastructure, you may have read that we bonded together all the 4 licensees with regard to building what do you call that, a highway to connect through 3 terminals and with the exit on the 4 integrated resorts. So that will cut short the traffic time maybe from an hour to maybe 15-minute ride. So hopefully in the next 18 months, we will have that infrastructure.
You want to add to that?
Actually, one of the things, we always talk about chicken and egg, right? So do you develop the infrastructure before the market, or does the market develop before the infrastructure? In this case, the entry of billion-dollar investors in the Philippine gaming market has really caused the government literally to shape up, both the private sector and the government are now working together. I believe yesterday there was an announcement for a new terminal for NAIA, plus an additional runway.
Terminal, where would they put a new terminal?
Right beside Terminal 3. But aside from that, but this is more interesting. San Miguel has just submitted a proposal to the Office of the President to build a $10 billion airport with 4 runways.
Club.
No, not in Clark, in Manila. It's going to be partly reclaimed. It's already been publicly announced. And if the government approves it, they're going to go ahead and do it. And of course, one large part of it is because of the large expansion of San Miguel through the Philippine Airlines to acquire 100 planes, and they need substantial infrastructure to be able to park those planes. So again, you're now the entertainment city, more than just entertainment, more than just gaming. It's such a large investment from the private sector, never seen in that scale by the Philippine government, that really has allowed the Philippine government to be more bullish about laying down the proper infrastructure. And working together, we believe that in the next couple of years, the Philippines will be a very, very interesting proposition.
Okay, so what other opportunities are there apart from land-based gaming? You mentioned e-gaming, e-bingo, lotteries.